Hey Guardians, I have a question for you. Have you ever wondered what Destiny would look like as a true MMO? Well, I have, and for years I've been thinking of how to make one and still keep the heart and soul of Destiny. I love this franchise. I played Destiny 1 at launch back in 2014, and at the time this game was groundbreaking. There just wasn't a game like it. And to be honest, there still isn't one today. Now, I'm not saying the game launched perfect. There were issues, like how the main story felt pieced together and actually didn't really make a whole lot of sense, or it didn't explain a lot. But the game made up for the shortcomings of the story. This game was full of mystery and was captivating. And it actually got me into my first MMO, which was Black Desert Online. And while I thought Destiny was an MMO, I soon realized that it was just an FPS with RPG aspects. And while I loved the game, I couldn't help but think, what if Destiny was an MMO? Well, today I'm going to make it one. But before we get into the video, I want to talk about the current state of the game. Hey everyone, I know right now is an uncertain time for Destiny, with Bungie ending support for Destiny 2 and no new installments being made. But we need to unite together and support this amazing IP. I know the content might get stale and boring, but remember, there's always someone coming back to the game, or new players that are lost and don't know what to do. What I recommend doing is take some new players under your wing and show them why this game means so much to you. What makes this game so amazing. You could teach them the raids or dungeons, or even play the campaign with them. I myself personally have not done a lot of raids in Destiny 2. Now, while I have done a lot of the raids, or actually all the raids in Destiny 1, Destiny 2, I've played mostly solo, and it can get lonely. What I'm saying is, when the content is stale to you, it might be new to someone else. When you help someone learn this game, you might fall back in love with it and have a new purpose. Regardless of what Sony and Bungie do with this franchise, the game only dies when we give up on it. So join us Tuesday, June 9th for this update. I will be making a new account and starting over for this update. I can't bring myself to delete my characters I've had since 2014. But if you want to join me on this adventure, I'll be streaming over on Twitch. Hope to see you there. And remember, Guardians, we make our own fate. So you're probably asking, what are we going to name this game? Well, I have a few different names I came up with, like Destiny New Light, Destiny Reforged, or my favorite one, which is Destiny Rebirth. So we're going to go with that one for now. The next thing I would do is I would separate the sandboxes, meaning campaign, actual live world, and PvP. The main reason I would do this is so you can download the parts of the game you want to play. And this will help keep the file size down. For example, you want to play just the PvP, then you would just download the PvP part of the game. This would also safeguard the content if the code updates, and would also be able to tweak each sandbox separate of each other. In case we need to nerf or buff things, it wouldn't affect the whole sandbox. So, since the sandboxes are separate, there needs to be a way you can access the content you actually want to play. This is where my version of the portal comes in. Now, my version of the portal is going to be where the character screen is now in the game. Here, you'll be able to choose between the three areas you want to play. You can either play the campaigns, the live version, or the PvP part. Now, my version of the portal will act more as a portal to the type that you want to play, not as a activity list. By hitting the Campaigns tab, you'll get access to all the story-driven narrative in Destiny. What I would then do is rework all the story-driven material and make them into mission-based campaigns. This would mean a more linear story. And before and after each mission, there would also be cutscenes. That means no more running around to talk to 5 different people to get the narrative of the story. Each new storyline can be downloaded or deleted from your hard drive. This would also make monetizing it easier. The only content that would be locked is the raid and dungeons. This shouldn't affect the live world too much, meaning the live version of Destiny can mostly be free. But if you want the story, you have to buy it. Now heading over to the PvP part of the game. This part of the portal is where you're going to test your skills against other players. You will then load into a new social space that will be PvP focused. In this new space, you'll find vendors that focus on PvP gear and PvP events like the Iron Banner and Trials. Also, there might be new PvP events that pop up from time to time. And when you're ready for a match, you'll head over to the sign up desk. Here, you'll be prompted to choose what mode you want to play. Now, all previous maps in Destiny will be in a pool depending on the mode you choose. 3 random maps will be picked. Here, all players in the lobby can vote on the map they want to play, almost like how the older FPS shooter games were. Now, any rewards that you get from the matches can be collected at the arena social space. I just think that it would be cool to have a new social space for the PvP scene. Also, it would be needed if that was the only part of the game that you downloaded. Now moving to the most changed part of Destiny, Destiny Live. The first time you click on this part of the portal, you'll be prompted to make new characters. Yes, your Destiny Live version is not the main Guardian you play in the story. To me, this just makes sense, because I'll be adding factions. I'm bringing factions back but making changes. There will no longer be Future War Cult, Dead Orbit, or New Monarchy. Each faction will have 3 classes. It will be the equivalent to the classes we are already familiar with: Titan, Hunter, and Warlock. Guardian of Light is the first faction. They are pretty much what we play as now, but without the Darkness subclass, and will be led by the Vanguard, the Lucent Brood. They are a Guardian, but a Hive one, with different powers abilities, and will be led by Savathun. While Savathun is not against humanity, she is not for it either. The House of Light. The House of Light, this class will be totally new concept. This class will not wield light or dark, but will rely on tech, and will be led by Mithrax. The Lightless. This class will be a class of Guardians that have lost their ghost, or recruits that wield darkness, and will be led by Eris Morn. House of Salvation. This class will be like the House of Light, but wield the darkness subclass. They are not for or against humanity and have come to peace agreement between the other factions. They will be led by Aramis. The Iron War Beast. This class will be a Cabal focused class that serve under Empress Kaido and led by Valis Saladin. They are allied with the Guardians and Last City and work together. They are another class that will focus heavy on tech. Once you're done creating your character, you would then select the server to play on. Don't worry, if your friend chooses a different server as you will be able to switch servers freely. Now, I would name these servers after the planets of the solar system, adding numbers after them if more servers are needed. Since the server selection is added, I would then remove the instance-based gameplay, meaning a lot more people will be loaded into an area at a time. This will make it easier for you and your friends to play without the limitations of a fire team. I would also add in a vicinity voice chat. This would make interacting with other players feel more organic and make the area feel more alive. Once you have selected your server, you would normally load into your last social space, but since this is your first time loading in, you will get an onboarding experience. This will include a cutscene and an origin mission to introduce you to the controls. After the mission, your leader will have you do one of each of the activities, except for the dungeons and the raids. This should give you an idea of what you're able to do and get you familiar with the world. And once you are done with the onboarding, you will receive a set of starting gear. This will not include any gear above legendary. And speaking of gear, before we get into what I'm changing with the loot, I think we should talk about the vault system. I would keep the vault system in game, but I would also add in a secondary vault system separate from the game. Now, for your average player, they wouldn't really need extra space, but for players who go crazy getting every god roll and multiple sets of armor per character, this would be great for them. There's already a system in place to get access to your vault and transfer gear to and from other characters. Adding to that, I would make a secondary vault system that you can access with an app or website. You would get 100 extra slots for free and another 1,000 slots with a monthly subscription of $5 to $7. This would act a lot more like the Pokebank that Nintendo has for Pokemon. Now that we've went over where you would put all of your shiny loot, let's talk about what I will be changing with the gear. I'll be adding more rarities and taking the old rarities out, and completely changing the loot altogether. There will be 5 rarities: Common, Legendary, Cursed, Lightforged, and Chosen. Now, all the loot will look good and shouldn't need an extra skin to make it look cool, but that's not to say that there won't be skins that you can purchase for them. What I'm trying to say is the better the rarity, the cooler the gear will look. And if you want to purchase more skins for them, they will be there. Common. The most common in the game and aren't really relevant. They're going to be mostly used for parts and until you get your first legendaries. Legendaries are going to be the most used and you can get them from doing any activity in the game. Cursed. These are only going to be acquired from doing the dungeons and are going to be more powerful and have better stats and perks than the legendaries. The color of these are going to be violet. Lightforged. These are going to be the main focus of players and will have even better stats and perks. You will only be able to get these from doing the raids and the color will be dark red. Chosen. This is going to take the spot of the exotics. You can only have one equipped at a time and the color of these are going to be orange. These are going to be the hardest in the game to get and are not handed out to you. You'll be able to get them from any activity, but the harder the activity, the more of a chance you'll be able to get them. These will be extremely rare and have the absolute best perks and stats. All of the current exotics will get wiped except for the very best ones, and they'll be divided into the rarities as needed. This tier is going to be the cream of the crop and what people covet. Now that we've gone over the rarities, let's talk about the armor. I would keep these mostly the same, but adding in slots for attachments to each armor piece. I'll give an example of an attachment for each piece, but there will be a lot more attachments to choose from. For the helmet, there could be a mod that gives you enhanced perception. This would highlight the weak spots of an enemy and allow you to see heat signatures through a wall, giving you wall hacks for a certain distance. For the chest piece, there could be a better shield generator that gives you a faster shield charge, or it could give you a stronger shield at the cost of longer charge times. For the gloves, there could be an attachment that changes your melee into a charge that does AoE damage around you. And then for the boots, there could be an attachment that gives you an extra jump or longer lift time. These are just examples of attachments you could use. Now, let's talk about the weapons. Since they are going to be a lot harder to get, there will not be random rolls like we're used to. Instead, each gun will have a core perk that doesn't change, and a few minor perks that will be random. These mostly will be attachments like the stock or the sight. The guns will also have a slot that you can attach a module to. These will act as interchangeable perks, with each tier having their own individuals. Meaning, if you have a legendary gun, you wouldn't be able to attach a cursed module on that gun. Now, the chosen guns will not have module slots. Since they will be the rarest and the hardest to get, they already have the best perks and stats. There will be different rarities of the modules that correspond with the weapons and armor. Each rarity might have a better version of the perk from the previous tier, or something completely different. I would also add the ability to change the way your gun looks by changing the attachments. This will be a part of the weapon, so you wouldn't have to loot gun attachments. So if you change your stock of the gun, it will have a visual effect on that gun. Now let's talk about some things that I would just add or change in the game. I would add in a marketplace that would be attached to all the servers. This would help keep the economy the same across the game. There will be a minimum and a maximum price for an item. This price will be determined by how common that item is. And for a fee, players can put those items on the marketplace. This fee will be determined by the price that they actually list it for. Now, some rarities would not be able to go on the marketplace, like Lightforged or Chosen. This would help keep those items exclusive to the people that earned them. I would also change the way crafting is in the game. You will no longer be able to craft weapons, but instead you can craft consumables. Some of those consumables you'll be able to craft are ammo crates, concentrated light tonics, and revive tokens. The ammo crates would act like ammo synths did in D1, but you will be able to place those. and each player in the fire team would be able to refill their ammo one time. The concentrated light tonics would give you an increased super regain, and the revive tokens, you would only be able to use those in revive restricted zones. You'd only be able to carry one at a time, and if you died in that zone, you'd be able to revive. Now, let's get into some changes that I will make to the destinations. Now, each destination, there would be a base camp. This would act as a mini social space. There would be NPCs there like guardians or other factions. And from here, you can do missions to help out with the base camp and progress the destination storyline. Now, out in the destination, there will be NPCs. This is where you can get your patrol missions. These are going to be a whole lot different from what we are used to. I'll give an example of one. One fire team of guardians got ambushed and are pinned. Their ghost took damage and cannot revive. The only thing that they can do is heal. The objective is to clear the waves of enemies so that the guardians can get back to base camp and do repairs. If any of the guardians die, they will result in a mission failure. I think that Destiny should have more missions like this that involve other guardians or people that you save. The missions that we do have that you go and support the fire team, they always die, or it's one of the characters that you help and you never see them in the mission. But this mission is going to be one of many types of missions that you can expect to find in the destination. Now, I would also add a mini storyline for each destination. For these missions, I would repurpose the lost sectors and have them be destination missions. Completing these missions could reward minor things like gun modules or armor attachments and materials. I would also add in world bosses to each destination. There would be one for each enemy faction that is on that destination, and there would be a rotation of bosses that would spawn on any given day. These bosses will drop crafting materials and boss-specific legendaries, whether it be armor or weapons, and rework all the public events to give more variety and make them more rewarding, giving crafting materials and syllables. So in any MMO, to keep things fresh, there's always some kind of events going on, and this game would be no different. Now, these events would be perfect opportunities for collabs with other franchises, bringing in more players and revenue. I would have collab items in the Eververse store and maybe have a pass attached to it where you can get special loot and items. Now, not all events have to be collabs, but events wouldn't add to the overall narrative of the story, but would keep players interested in the game and bringing more people to this game. Well, look at you, you made it to the end of the video. So thank you for watching this silly video with me. This is what I wish Destiny would be and how I would imagine Destiny as an MMO. Now, there are still plenty of things that can be added into this game, but these were the bigger things that I focused on going over. I do want to apologize for all the cuts, as I'm not used to making videos and reading from a script, so thank you for sticking through to the end. This franchise is amazing, and I don't want it to die, so tomorrow, June 9th, I'll be streaming over on Twitch. I'll be making a new account and doing everything Destiny has to offer. If you want to join me, that would be awesome. With that said, I love y'all's faces, and remember, we make our own fates.